After a 10-year disagreement that was prompted by the organization's intention to add Palestine as a member, UNESCO announced on Monday that the United States planned to rejoin the United Nations Cultural and Scientific Agency and pay more than $600 million in unpaid dues. This comes after the United States withdrew from the organization in 2005. According to officials from the United States, the decision to return was motivated by the worry that China is filling the space left by the United States in policymaking inside UNESCO, particularly in creating standards for artificial intelligence and technology education across the world. The United Nations Cultural Agency, which is responsible for the preservation of the world's most important heritage monuments, has reached an agreement with the administration of Vice President Joe Biden to receive almost $600 million in back payments. After President Donald Trump committed to withdrawing the United States from the body responsible for the conservation of heritage sites all over the world, the United States is scheduled to rejoin the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in July 2023. This comes about 6 years after President Trump committed to withdraw the United States from the institution. Today, the Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay, announced to a gathered audience of representatives from the organization's 193 member states. Her speech was greeted with applause from a large number of people. Azoulay stated that the United States will rejoin based on a concrete financing plan, which will now be presented to the General Conference of UNESCO member states for approval. As a result, the restoration of the United States will be contingent on a vote that is planned to take place the following month. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, is a government organization that oversees a variety of international and multinational cultural programs. Among these organizations is the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, which is in charge of supervising the World Heritage Committee. This committee is in charge of carrying out the World Heritage Convention and safeguarding the 1157 locations that have been designated as World Heritage Sites. In addition to this, official contacts are kept alive between UNESCO and the International Council of Museums, ICOM. A letter was sent to Azoulay by Richard Verma, who serves as the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resources for the United States of America. In the letter, Verma outlined the U.S. government's strategy to rejoin. According to a statement made by a representative for Azoulay, the letter expressed satisfaction with how UNESCO has modernized its management and reduced political tensions. Rebuilding ties with international organizations has been an ongoing priority for the administration of President Biden, and one of its long-term goals has been to reacquaint the United States with UNESCO. The United States gave notice in 2017 that it intended to withdraw its membership from UNESCO, and the primary reason given was the political difficulties that are related to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Palestine. But after taking office in January 2021, the administration of Joe Biden became worried that, in the absence of the United States, the Chinese government was exercising an inappropriate and growing influence on the policy agenda of UNESCO. This led to the administration's decision to express its dissatisfaction publicly. Following the United States' withdrawal from UNESCO, China substantially raised its donations to the organization, bringing the total amount it gives to the organization's annual budget to approximately $65 million. A Chinese diplomat named Xing Hu was selected to fill the position of Deputy Director General of UNESCO in March of 2018. Since that time, the World Heritage Committee has designated 56 Chinese heritage sites as being worthy of protection, elevating China to the position of the world's second most protected nation, behind only Italy. Additionally, China has persistently obstructed Taiwan's efforts to join UNESCO as a member organization. Joining UNESCO will be celebrated by Vice President Joe Biden as a hard-won political and diplomatic achievement for the United States. In December of 2022, his government was successful in getting a federal spending measure worth $1.7 trillion through the United States Congress with cooperation from members of both parties. The measure had a waiver that expressly stated that the United States government would strive to re-engage with UNESCO to counter the influence of China. The bill allotted a sum of more than $600 million to be paid in back dues to UNESCO by the United States. In the years leading up to its complete withdrawal in 2017, the United States withheld its funding. The United States can now immediately resume its status as a full member because it has paid the arrears on its membership payments in full. The organization, which has an annual operating budget of $534 million, will receive a cash boost as a result of the news. Before its withdrawal, the United States' annual contribution was close to $80 million. When the members of UNESCO agreed in October 2011 to admit Palestine as a full member of the organization, relations between the United States administration and UNESCO grew strained. Palestine is a non-member observer state at the United Nations. However, a number of the world's most powerful countries, including the United States, do not officially recognize Palestine as a sovereign state. As a direct consequence of the decision, the administration of President Obama was legally obligated to withhold financing to the United Nations organization by the laws that had been established by the U.S. Congress in the year 1990. Additionally, in 2013, it started to withhold its voting rights inside the organization, alleging that UNESCO's establishment of the State of Palestine was a violation of the UN's mandate to stay neutral on all world disputes. This was done in response to UNESCO's decision to recognize Palestine as a state. Although the UN has issued a comprehensive list of cultural landmarks that have been damaged as a result of the war in Ukraine, the organization has declined to specifically call out Russia for its role in the conflict there. In contrast, the UN has refused to condemn Russia by name for its role in the conflict. The Trump administration went one step further and announced in October 2017 that it has decided to withdraw completely from UNESCO. The withdrawal from the organization will be completed legally in January 2019. At the same time, Israel withdrew its membership in the organization. The United States president has stated that the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has an anti-Israel atmosphere, and he has argued that the politicization of the organization means that it has greatly strayed from its primary objective of supporting education, culture, and scientific research. Since then, discussions have been conducted with the Israeli government, which declared in February 2022 that it would not object to the United States readmission to UNESCO. Anna Summers-Cox analyzed how political activity inside UNESCO damaged some cultural monuments in an article that was published in the Art newspaper in December 2022. UNESCO has wandered from the principles underlying the World Heritage Convention of 1972 to protect heritage sites as a common good, wrote Summers-Cox. Member states have gradually been transforming what was a technical and professional approach into a political one, with alliances and secret deals to get sites accepted onto the World Heritage Site list and to avoid sanctions where a site is being mismanaged. Member states have gradually been transforming what was a technical and professional approach into a political one. Additionally, the Trump administration advocated for increased fiscal prudence and transparency, arguing that the United States shouldered a disproportionate load in terms of UNESCO funding and claiming that the country already paid its fair share. Administrative reforms, which have been rolled out since 2018, have made UNESCO more efficient and financially sound, Azoulay spokesperson stated. In November 2017, Azoulay was chosen to lead UNESCO after being nominated for the position. Since then, she has conducted mediation efforts with the United States government. That made it possible to reduce political tensions and find consensus on the most sensitive topics, such as the Middle East, added the spokesman. Do you like it? Kindly give your valuable response in our comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting and informative videos.